I love this. So Calvin Peete passed away a couple of years ago, 71. If you don't know who Calvin Peete was, he wasn't the first black professional golfer, but he certainly was. He was a trailblazer. He might have been the second or third. But until Tiger Woods came along, he was the most successful. He won 12 tour events, I think 10 in the PGA and 2 in Japan. Mm-hmm. But the most remarkable thing about Calvin Peete was his background. This is a little clip of Calvin Peete in the 1980s. So there we go. So if you look into it, depending on what source you read, he was one of either 18 or 19 children in Detroit. Had a really tough upbringing. His father was just had married twice, so he had like 17 or 18 siblings. Left school in year 8, or 8th grade, as they would say, to try and make some money for the family. Literally had fuck all. And then at 23, which is the age where most people have been on the tour for a year or two, he started playing golf at 23, just on public like pay and play courses. Also, when he was a kid, he'd fallen out of a tree and broken his left arm quite badly in 3 places. I think the doctor said that if it had been any more severe, they'd have had to seriously consider amputating his arm.
Bloody hell.
They didn't have the money to get it set, being the USA. They didn't have the money to get it set because they were poor, so his left arm never straightened properly.
That absolutely...
It's crazy, isn't it?
I just found that so upsetting when I found...
Because it's not life-threatening. If you get knocked over or shot in the States, they will save your life in an ER room. And then after that, you're on your own, basically. If you haven't got medical insurance, you're fucked.
It's just you're condemning a child to a life of pain because his parents are poor. And that's the thing I just cannot wrap my head around that.
Beggars belief. So anyway, the odds stacked right against him. Yes, we took him to golf at 23 and was just brilliant at it. And there was a period from in the 80s for 10 years, basically, where he was the most accurate driver of a golf ball on the tour. So the one year, I think 83 or 84, 85% of fairways he hit from the tee. It's a crazy stat. He was in the top 10 in the world. In I think his best year, I think he won 4 tour events in his best year.
Okay.
Just a really, really good golfer. And Tiger Woods says one of his regrets is that he never met Calvin Peete because as a young black kid who liked golf growing up, you didn't really have any role models. Clip-wise, I find the clip weird, though, at the end, right?
Oh, go on.
When the fella says he's one of the most successful black golfers,
I found that
why
odd.
do you even mention that? That's irrelevant.
That's really interesting because getting to the end of it, I thought, yes, but...
Proper patronising at the end. The last sort of 10 seconds. But it's a really good clip apart from that.
Who does the clip? Like, who's responsible for it?
It was in Golf World or Golf Monthly. It was.
Okay.
I don't know what... It's relevant at the start of mentioning being an African-American golfer, obviously. But that bit at the end doesn't need saying. But he died at 71 a few years ago now. But and there's a debate, an ongoing debate about whether he should be in the Golf Hall of Fame. And obviously a lot of people think that he should be. He didn't have a stellar career, but he really changed the game for a lot of people.
From what I've kind of looked at around that, I think you have to have won 15 tour events to sort of be eligible initially. Like you can go in there as a sort of a game changer, if you like.
Yeah.
Sort of that sort of. There's a way in.
He wasn't the first black professional. I think he was a second or third. So the same when
Yeah.
How many did he win?
12.
I think it's 12.
So he doesn't quite make the grade
he doesn't quite,
in that sense.
Had a good Ryder Cup record. Won at 2 Ryder Cups. I think he won 4, draw 2, and won 4, lost 2, drew 1, maybe.
Okay.
But also just a stylish... I love people who own their own move or swing. So there's a fellow I mentioned very early days called Mo Norman who had Asperger's, very pronounced Asperger's.
Okay.
And he would swing the club like nobody else ever swung the club. And he was known for being very, very straight. Pipeline Mo was his nickname. So Calvin Peete, because he couldn't bend that... When you start playing golf as a kid, like I started playing when I was like 10 or 11 years of age, you're always told about that left arm, keeping that left arm straight, and there's lots of weird advice, But that one stuck in my mind. So with Pete, he couldn't do that. He couldn't straighten his left arm. So he sort of adapted a swing around that. We were on about that Louis Rees-Emmett thing the other day when the coach saying we haven't got to take bad habits out with people.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he started playing golf, then broke his arm, and then tried to play with a bent arm. He'd only ever played with a bent arm. And he didn't start playing golf till he was a fully grown adult, 23 years old.
He was 23.
So.
That's nuts.
Which I find absolutely incredible. I think Rocky Marciano was like that. I don't think he started boxing until he was like 22.
Okay.
That's mad.
Yeah.
But also, Pete's got a lovely, when you look at the lovely languid sort of swing that he's got, he was never very long because he couldn't get all that torque and all that power into it. But he's very, very straight. And he always looked, I think he always dressed immaculately, he always looked really cool. I think he's got like 7 or 8 kids or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I just really like Calvin Peete. And he was one of those. I grew up in a sort of bit of a golden era, really, being into golf when I was a kid, and it was sort of Tom Watson and Jack Nicklaus were still playing. You had Calvin Peete, Stadler. You had real characters in golf, and I think, and it's not knocking it, but now a lot of it comes through the university system.
Okay.
Where you've played 3 years in university on a golf scholarship. And you all sort of swing in a similar way, and you all putt in a similar way, and you're all very, very, very good.
Yes.
But I just like it was a lot more of a mishmash in the 80s for me.
It is interesting. So this and tennis, I guess, so when you watch what I guess is scientifically perfection now, or as close to that as you can replicate in people, it does take out some of the quirks. And that's the fun, isn't it? So like, watching this guy swing... I can't work out, like, I don't know enough about the science of it, and I also don't know enough about golf, but it doesn't look like a beautiful swing. But then you look at his statistics, and you go, well, that works for him. If he's got a bent left arm, then you've got to work out how you change that. And I find that more interesting than training someone to do something exactly the right
because if you challenged orthodoxy, like if he had started playing golf at a young age, they would have tried everything to coach around that broken arm.
Yeah.
Right, everything, but all those people who've been, there's not a golfer now that's hitting 85% fairways, right? They might be longer than him. They certainly are. The equipment's better and the balls are better. Woods makes a really good point. He said the balls then, they had a Balata ball, which naturally curved more in the air anyway.
Okay.
So he said it makes it even more impressive that he did what he did.
Yeah.
With the equipment that he had. Much narrower driver faces. You had a ball that curved more. Here's a statistic for you. I was reading about him today. Where's it gone? Here we go. This is... he'd be regarded as a good solid player, remembered more for his deadly accuracy off the tee, leading the tour in the category from 1980 to 1989 than anything else. It was ungodly how straight he hit the ball, said Woods. The ball just didn't move, and this was back in the old Balata days when the ball curved a lot and the ball didn't curve. There's a stat that not many people know about. Check this one. And that is at Muirfield Village, Jack Nicklaus's tournament course in Ohio. He didn't miss a fairway for 2.5 years. Oh, my God.
That is amazing.
It's a crazy stat. And I just think there'll be lecturers in your sports when you're doing your golf scholarship, and you'll talk about accuracy all day long, and they'll show you get on the simulator, and they'll show you exactly what you're doing and spin rates and all the other stuff. You won't be as straight as Calvin Peete. A bloke, and that we never would have seen that if he hadn't come to golf late. Done things his own way.
I see. There's a guy called Pete McDaniel who wrote a book called Uneven Lies: The Heroic Story of African Americans in Golf. So, sort of going into the aspect where you're saying, he wasn't the first African American golfer. So he says there's Charlie Sifford, Bill Spiller, Terry Rhodes, and Pete Brown who would have endured the worst of the discrimination. But where Charlie was the pioneer, Calvin is the foundation. He sets the standard. Then comes Tiger. I said, okay.
Well, Tiger named his kid after Charlie Sifford.
Did he really?
Did he?
That's interesting.
I just love watching him play golf, and obviously Charlie would have had it more difficult back in those days, but it must have been no cakewalk. If you're born in 1943 in
oh yeah, I can't imagine
Detroit.
I can't imagine that they got rid of the problems.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? He never played the Open, Calvin.
No, that's weird, that, isn't it?
I was reading a few quotes from him, and certainly a couple of them, he was saying that he didn't think his back would stand up to the plane journey.
Okay,
so which is fascinating. Because I'd made a sort of an assumption that it might have been something to do with the fact that he was African American. and whether that was sort of still not a thing.
I did wonder.
Yeah, but reading the quotes from him, he didn't think he'd stand up to the playing journey well. He didn't sort of land with his schedule then, which is interesting.
I just like, there's a fella, Jim Dempsey, who had the NFL longest kick for like 30 or 40 years. He held the record. That was born with basically no toes on his foot.
Yes, yeah.
So how's that work then?
Well, they said his kicking shoe was like a boxing glove almost.
Yeah.
There was no toe on it.
Yeah.
It was like a hammer, and he would just kick, straight ahead kicker.
Wow.
Yeah, and he had the record for years, for 30 or 40 years. He held the record for.
Yeah.
Yeah. People who through some of this forced upon them work with it.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's go non-sport. So Douglas Bader.
Yeah.
The fighter pilot in the war. He got kicked out of the Air Force. Not kicked out, but he was given a desk job after he lost his legs. He crashed a plane, showing off, basically, he was buzzing the tower, and he crashed, and they lost his legs, saved his life.
Like a Top Gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Gave him a desk job. When the war broke out, he kept applying to join as a fighter pilot again. They kept turning him down until they just needed the numbers. They were losing people so heavily. They gave Bader a job as a pilot. They adapted the plane to make it all hand controls for him, whatever. And he was one of our best fighter races. Okay. They said because in the days before pressurised suits and pressurised cabins and everything else, you just had a flight suit on and a pair of goggles. If you pulled a really steep curve, which you'll mention, funny enough, weirdly later, because you do with your F1 clip, if you pull a really tight curve, the G-force would black pilots out because all their blood would rush to their legs. But Bader didn't have any legs. So he could pull much tighter curves, going much faster than other pilots, which really improved him. So having no legs improved him as a fighter pilot.
That's funny.
Yeah. But Calvin Peete, I love it. And he looks cool. He's always got nice trousers on. He's always got a nice top on.
Yeah, I do like the look of it.
I just imagine he's the sort of dude you'd play golf with. I can't imagine him being hurried at any point, Calvin Peete.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the sort of fella, after you finish, he would just stroll up on the veranda outside the 18th green. I imagine he gets something. I can't see him drinking a pint. You know what I mean?
Okay. I like the sort of mind experiments you have. Go on, what are you doing?
You just have like a long old iced tea and you just sit there looking cool and maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
That's a really good point. When you think of 20th and 21st century icons, can you imagine them drinking a pint?
Oh, okay.
Well, you said about James Bond earlier. Imagine going a pint of lager, please. Different character, isn't it?
I don't know. Is Cronenberg's off? Okay, I'll have a Heineken.
I'll have a pint of moo.
Dash of lime.
Yeah. Actually, I'm working. Put a little lemonade top in.